You may be familiar with me because I make mini albums, teach classes, and do lots of tutorials to make mini scrapbook albums on my YouTube channel. But did you know that I live and craft and travel in my RV full time? This year I'll be documenting my travels in a travel journal and share with you the processes of making the travel journal and my travels at the same time. Here's a journal that I've made in previous years. So you can see I like to add brochures and photographs and stamps, stickers, whatever I pick up from my travels. So I'm going to stick with that kind of idea, but I'm also going to be adding lots more color using maybe paints, maybe scrapbook paper. I don't know. It's going to be a work in progress. I'm fortunate that my husband does photography, so I will be able to use some of his pictures in the book, as well as just trying to explore different mediums and see what happens. So let me show you what I've already done so far in the journal for this year. On that inside front cover on the left side, I took a photo that my husband had made of a foggy day alongside a farm and just blew it up and put it on that first page with the year. And then as you can see, the next page has just some images, some photos he's taken, pictures of family and that kind of thing. Of course, there is some journaling as well. Again, on that left-hand side, you'll see the pictures of the cows and the chickens and the foggy road. That's where we stay in the winter. It's in northwest Florida. It's just a rural area. And then we hit the road. We went towards Texas, went and stopped and visited some friends. I did a little inking on this page, and then I took a picture of the map of Texas, imposed it on this picture of lupines, and cut it out and just drew around it. So I thought it added something nice to that page. Now I know I still need to add some journaling to the top, and I'll do that as soon as I get a chance. So the lupines were in bloom when we were hitting Lake Texoma. It was just fields of blue. Very beautiful. Very, very pretty. Here I played with some bright colored inks. We were heading to go see my husband's mom. And as you can see, that picture on the bottom of the silos was a really cool mural. It was real bright colored, so I took some stamps and colored them brightly as well. I just thought it all went nice. And then the next page is some more pictures we took in Oklahoma. There is Brahms ice cream, which was a favorite of my husband's. I took a map from one of the campgrounds we stayed at. It was a really beautiful campground on Benbrook Lake. It was a Corps of Engineers campground, and I just liked, I like to save maps. So I glued that into the page, sort of make it a pull-out. So I'll turn the page. All right, turn the page. And oh, that day was April 20th, so 4/20. We had gone to Weed a couple years ago and put our Weed shirts on that day. We got into Austin, and I have a friend that lives in Austin. She took us around to see the art museum, and you'll recognize this friend. Her name is, well, you won't recognize the picture because the picture is teeny tiny, but her name is, you know her on YouTube as Biddy Penny. So she'd give me some great papers that I will be using in this journal at some point, but I just cut out her little logo. And we did some jelly prints, and she'd give me that so I can look up those people who also do jelly prints just for inspiration. I just tucked it into that journal so I remember to do it. I'll be using some of those jelly prints that I made for some pages in this journal. Like I said, it's just going to be sort of mixed media-ish. I took one of the brochures, fussy cut around that star and made it a nice tuck spot. So this, if I turn it right side up, doesn't that look like a cowboy hat? That was in the Capitol building, and all along I was so impressed that Texas used cowboy hats that were carved into the wooden motif. Well, it's really not a cowboy hat, it's really a scroll. It wasn't until I got closer I realized, number one, I need to get new glasses, and number two, they were not cowboy hats. So the pictures that I've taken photos of just were memorable for me for some reason. We just were in awe of the artistry there. I did doodle a picture of the skyline in Austin. It really was a very beautiful city, but I do find most capitals are very nicely kept. They're clean, pretty flowers. It was just really pretty. While we were in Austin, here's another picture of the Capitol. There's the rotunda looking up. I took a picture of this beautiful drum that was used in one of the wars in Texas because it was hand painted and I thought it was very pretty. The flowers that were blooming were the Indian blankets, and I just loved the pretty pictures of them. While we were in the Capitol, they had this. This is Bucky. If you're a traveler, you're familiar with Buc-ee's. This was the first alliteration of Bucky. They've changed it, but they put the first one in the state capital because Buc-ee's is all over Texas. We also found a troll. Oh my goodness. And for explanation on this page, I printed this out on matte photo paper. I printed several pictures at the same time in different sizes, but I used matte photo paper and then I cut around it and cut it square on two sides. I took, this could have been a jelly printed paper, and I just drew shingles on it to match the shingles on this troll. She has a name, Malin. She was in one of the parks in Austin. She has this huge, it must have been at least 5 or 6 feet wide water trough that you're supposed to add an offering of water. Now, the trolls, my daughter told me about the troll. She said, oh, if you're in Austin, go check out the troll. Told me where it was. So I did journal about it on that paper. But I also went to the site of Thomas Dambo, who does trolls all over the world. He's got over 200 trolls. I couldn't tell you how many. But these are some of the trolls that are located in the United States. So there we were in Texas, and we visited the only troll. Funny, but we found out there is a troll that was within 10 minutes of us when we were in Florida, and there were trolls throughout the Northeast. I mean, look at them. They're all over. So this year we're exploring the upper Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and we'll go see if we can find any of those trolls. So anyhow, I took this troll map and just tucked it in behind Malin the troll along with my journaling. And that's it for right now. I will be doing another page as soon as I print out some pictures of where I've been. Now, I'm using just a plain journal. The reason being is I have used really nice watercolor journals or different papers, and I have found that they get very chunky very fast. And I have not bound this into a book, although that is what I do. I make albums. I decided I'm going to wait till the year is over and see how thick it is before I bind it into a book. And I probably will cover it. It depends on what paper it is that I use to decorate this mini album or journal. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Join along with me if you want to journal your year. It doesn't have to be travels. It could be your year in crafting. It could be your year in purging. It could be just a day in the life every couple of days of what you've done that day. So you remember 20 years later what your life was like. I have done other journals on my channel. I have some tutorials on making a travel journal. So I will link that in the description box if you're interested in other kinds of journals. I am no fancy schmancy artist. I just like to play. Let's put it that way. I just like to play with color, with texture, with paint, with graphics. You know, it's just all fun. I guess I was trying to practice a little bit of just drawing with markers. So that is what I wanted to show you today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fabulous day.